Intro to rotation. So rotation is a type of transformation that refers to the shape turning around a fixed point. Now this fixed point is known as the center of rotation. So let's go over angle of rotation. So it determines by how much to rotate the plane around the center. So the center could be the origin or it doesn't have to be. But for this example, we're just going to do a little showing. So if we had, right, a coordinate plane, right, our y and our x-axis. So if we had our origin, right, so we're going to say this is C, and then C is going to be our center of rotation. So we're going to rotate around that, essentially, is all it means. Then, let's go before C. That's a little bit better. So if we had, say, a blue dot and we wanted to rotate it, now say we want to rotate it 90 degrees, where would it end up? Well, we know that, right, if we went around this whole coordinate plane, if we went from this point all the way around back to this point, right, it'd be 360 degrees, right? So if we rotate it, say 90 degrees, we're going to end up somewhere right here. So we're going to say this is our new image, right, if we rotated it, and that would be the 90-degree mark, right? So this is x. Now what if we went from x, though, and we wanted to go 180 degrees on the center of rotation? So if we, right, just rotate this, say we rotated it around, and we end up at 180. It's not completely probably where it should be. It might be a little bit closer to the center, which is great. So now we did 180, but what if we wanted to do 270 degrees? Well, we'd go all the way around and end up somewhere around here. So we have x prime, and that's 270 degrees for the center of rotation, right? If we rotate it around the center, right? So we're just kind of going this way. And then if we rotated back to 360, right, we would end up right here again, and that would be x prime, and that would be 360 degrees. So notice how we went counterclockwise. So if we say we're rotating 90 degrees, so we're doing a positive angle rotation, that's going to be, right, that's going to be counterclockwise. Now, what if there's a negative angle rotation? Well, that's going to be clockwise for the rotation. So if we went from, say, x and we want to go negative 90 degrees, we would end up right here, right? So this would be x prime, and that'd be negative 90 degrees. So that's important to know about the rotation. What direction do we go, and is it positive or negative? So now let's look at some examples. So example 1, we're going to describe the rotation of x to x prime. So notice we have this arrow here that kind of shows where we're going, right? So here's our x, and we're going to end up here. So notice we have our center of rotation around the origin. That's what's kind of here to show you the C. Now if we're going from here all the way to here, right, if we were just to see, it's the exact location, right, like this. So if we were to show, so that looks like it's a, right, 90-degree rotation, and it's positive because we went counterclockwise. So the rotation would be, right, we're rotating a positive 90 degrees around point C. So that's how we could describe that. Now let's do another example. So example 2. So y and z are images of x from different rotations. Which of the following below are correct? Hint, there might be more than one answer correct. So if we look at all these, so let's kind of like think about this before we even go into the list. So we start with x, right? So we could either go x to z, and then, or you could go the opposite way, right? It could go all the way around. So let's think about that. So x to then z. Well, if you kind of look at this, you kind of see like maybe like a peace sign. So so you're like kind of looking at this in a sense of you're breaking into 3. So 360 divided by 3, right? So each, right, this whole circle makes it 360 degrees. So if you broke that down, it's about 120 degrees for each side, about. So if we were to go x to z, and this is counterclockwise, you could say it goes positive, right, 120 degrees, rotation. But if we went the opposite way, right, if we went clockwise, it would be negative 240 degrees for rotating. So there's 2 possible options there. Let's go ahead and erase this and think about it in terms of now the y. But we'll still show kind of like how we can break up this whole circle into how many degrees that would be. So, right, we can go x, we can go to y that direction, or we can go around. So really similar. So x to y. So if we went x to y on the top, we went to the right, that's going to be that's actually going to be clockwise, right? Not counterclockwise. So that's going to be negative 120 degrees. About, right? We're going to say it's about. Now, or if we went the other way, which is, right, we're going counterclockwise, it's going to be positive 240 degrees. And this is all estimates, right? Because, right, 90 degrees probably should end up somewhere around there. If you went, right, and if you went 180, which is a straight line, it should end up somewhere right there. And if you went 270, it should be kind of somewhere around there. Let me show this again. So think about it like this. If you were to just draw, so this would be somewhere around 90, this would be 180, this would be 270, and that would be back to the 360. So that's how I kind of visually looked at it, and that's why I also decided on the peace sign where we kind of broke it down into 120 degrees. Or you can look at it this way and kind of see it's between 90 and 180. So kind of multiple ways to look at this. So now let's look at our choices. So let's go, y is the image of x from a rotation around c by 180 degrees. Well, we can see probably where 180 should have been, so this is not the answer. Now, y is the image of x from the rotation around c by 120 degrees. So notice this is positive, and we decided that it should be negative because we're going to go clockwise if we go 120 degrees. So C would be the right answer because that's negative 120. Now let's look at Z. So Z is the image of x around the rotation around C by 180. Once again, it's not where the 180 degrees would be, so we can just go ahead and cross that out. It's not an answer because 180 should be right there, and we see Z is right there. Now Z is the image of x around a rotation around C by 120 degrees. Notice it's positive. And we also thought it should be positive, so E would be correct because we can just go ahead and look at C not being negative 120 degrees. So we would say C and E are the correct answers.